stake in these next few months before the next election? Will Republicans deliver the big victories that they promise the American people? They've got the big, beautiful bill done. They've got the border closed. They got inflation coming down. But election integrity and also extracting from the United States internal threats that got across the border during the Biden years remain an extraordinary challenge for all of us. Everyone's concerned about it, regardless of your political stripe. Joining me right now, a man who has served his country so extraordinarily in the military, as a politician now in Congress and making a big difference. He also was a judge back in the days when judges didn't do politics; they just did the law. Congressman Keith Self from the great state of Texas. Sir, good to have you on the show.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me. Great to be with you.
It is a great honor to have you on the show. I want to start. I think people are still grappling with the extraordinary tragedy that played out the day before Thanksgiving. The two brave guardsmen shot. One dies. One is thankfully starting to show some improvement in the hospital. But this was sort of a moment that we all knew could happen because of the way Biden brought Afghan refugees into the country, telling us they were vetted when they really weren't. What do we know and what still needs to be done to create a greater security situation than what Joe Biden allowed in 2021, 2022?
Well, what we know is that the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan is one of the blotches on American military history. It was mishandled. I was actually stationed at Bagram, and I will tell you, Bagram was the place to conduct the withdrawal. But since we botched it so badly, we are now paying the price for that botched withdrawal because we had unvetted Afghanistan citizens come to America. And that's exactly what happened to those two National Guardsmen that you spoke about. It is a direct reflection on the Biden administration withdrawal from Afghanistan. And what do you ask what needs to be done? Well, I would start with Chip Roy's Pause Act. Let's freeze all immigration. And the president has already talked about 19 countries that he has stopped all immigration from, and he's going to have special vetting on Afghans to begin with. But let's just stop it until we can sort all of this out, because not only the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan, but the 20 million or so people that came in during the Biden administration, we've got to sort those people out before we can move forward.
Yeah, it really is important. There seem to have been two programs. There's the Operation Allies program that Joe Biden did, which brought most of the interpreters and others in. But then there was this zero unit program where the CIA bypassed even the normal challenges there. We know that the alleged shooter in the National Guard case was a zero unit person who came in through the CIA channels. Is there any pressure in Congress to make sure the CIA goes back and revets those people, recontacts those people, make sure that they're not having a change in philosophy about America now they've been in the country a couple of years?
Well, I think that's what the Trump administration has ordered. So the CIA will certainly be part of it. But the Trump administration, look, this has energized the American people. The American people now say we are a sovereign nation and we're going to have to protect our sovereignty. So, yeah, President Trump has ordered it. I have no doubt that it will happen. And when we get to the bottom of all of these people, are they people that will hold up their hand and swear allegiance to the United States or not? That's the issue. Yeah,
that's so important. I want to talk about something I know is dear to your heart. You are pushing hard to make sure that it gets through this Congress, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, otherwise known as the SAVE Act. It's a simple and very powerful and popular idea. 80% of Americans support this notion that you got to provide documentary proof of your citizenship before you register for federal elections. And for a long time, Democrats say, oh, this is a law that doesn't have a problem to solve. And now we know the Des Moines, Iowa school superintendent was a legal alien who registered to vote. We know scores, now thousands of immigrants, non-citizens have made it onto the voter rolls in states all across the country. How important is this law, and is there a will in the Senate to get it done?
John, this is absolutely fundamental to election integrity. This is the linchpin. This is the keystone of election integrity, that only U.S. citizens vote in U.S. elections. I mean, there are other things to do to make sure that it happens. But this is the linchpin, that only U.S. citizens vote. Now, look, Congress has passed this twice, not once, but twice. The two Congresses I've been in, we have passed the SAVE Act. The senators need to stop whining and complaining about this and do their jobs to pass the SAVE Act. The Senate is absolutely down on the job. They are laying down on the job with the SAVE Act. I call on the Senate, I call on Leader Thune to get this across the finish line. We need some leadership out of the Senate leadership, and we need to get this done because, again, this is foundational to U.S. election integrity, that only U.S. citizens vote in U.S. elections.
Yeah, so important. And we have real examples now that that people have made it on the rolls, that people have voted when they shouldn't have. It is an extraordinary crisis of confidence that has to be solved. Why do you think the Senate's afraid to touch this? I mean, there's nothing, this is there are very few issues in America that are 80% popular. Why would the Senate not want to do something that 4/5 of Americans think is a great idea?
John, I have no idea, because normally when you see the 80% issues, the Democrats are always on the wrong side. But we have 53 votes. They need to go find 8, 7, technically, perhaps 8 Democrats who love our country, who want U.S. citizens to vote with us. Go find those 8 U.S. senators, Democrat senators who will vote with us to save our election integrity in this country. This is an 80% issue, as you say. It's vital to get done before the 26 midterms and certainly the 28 presidential election. This is a vital bill, absolutely vital.
Yeah. I want to talk to something that you have worked for a long time to address, our reckless spending. 38, 39 trillions right around the corner. We'll be at 40 trillion certainly before President Trump leaves office, maybe even larger than that. And there is a really significant sort of laissez-faire, not really addressing it in a systemic way. We look overseas and we see what Great Britain and its debt crisis is doing right now, and it feels like a look in the mirror moment. If that's what if we want to keep going the route we're going to look like this. Tell us why what's going on in Europe, and particularly in Great Britain, is a warning sign for America and its debt crisis.
Well, debt kills. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I want to, I hope, shock your audience. The director of the CBO in a budget committee hearing just before that I was allowed to sit in and participate in said that we're going to 62 trillion in debt. The problem, John, is not in Congress. It's our American people don't understand the magnitude of the debt and the fact that we pay interest on it. I mean, polls show that they just do not know the depths of our national debt and what that crisis means to us. We've got to educate our people, so then Congress will react to the people when they say, wait a minute, guys, what are you doing? And it's going to take mandatory spending because I only vote on 17% of the budget, John, 17%. The other 83% is on autopilot. And healthcare, we could go back to healthcare. Healthcare is the main driver of the increasing debt. If we're going from 39 trillion to 62 trillion, the American people need to understand what that means. We might be spending a majority of our interest money on paying down the interest of the debt, which means, do we even have a Department of Defense, Department of War? Because remember, I only vote on 17%, and the DOD is a large part of that department.
Yeah, no, it's a real issue. And you're right. I don't think people, and they hear the number. I know they hear the number, they see it, but they don't understand its impact, even on something as simple as interest rates for borrowing. Because the worse we get in debt, the tougher it's going to be to get a good interest rate for a car loan or for a student loan or for a mortgage going forward. And that education, that civic education moment, I think, is upon us. Do you think there's enough seriousness in Washington right now to really do something substantial, or are we just running in place and talking but not really acting?
So far, we've not acted. We're still spending like drunken sailors. And as I think Reagan pointed out, that probably insults drunken sailors, the way we're spending. So, absolutely not.
That's
we are not
right.
serious about that.
Yeah, we have to get there. It really is, it is remarkable. What is, with the few weeks left in this calendar year, what do you think Congress has on its agenda? Is there anything that can be done? Certainly, President Trump crying for some action on healthcare subsidies related to Obamacare. And I think the one thing that the government shut down then is it educated people on what a ruse this Obamacare subsidy program was. It made insurance companies rich, and it didn't have that money didn't go to the people getting it. Many of the people who the government subsidized didn't even use their insurance program. Where do you see the next few weeks going, and is there any progress possible on that front?
Well, frankly, the premiums are going up now. The insurance companies have put them out. People are responding to them. So anything Congress does now will not impact this increase. And frankly, the COVID-era subsidies, the ones we're talking about, were a very small percentage of the increase in any case, something like 3%. Very small percentage. So the normal Obamacare premiums were going up large degrees anyway. So everybody needs to understand that anything we do now is after the fact of the premiums going up. So frankly, I'm not sure we've reached a solution, but I will tell you the COVID-era subsidies need to expire at the end of the year. We need time then to come up with, because you're right, one of the benefits of the shutdown was it had sunshine on just the failed policy that Obamacare is. But it will take more than 3 weeks to come up with a plan to replace or to reform Obamacare. It'll take us longer than that. So we just need to understand we need more time. Let the COVID era temporary subsidies that the Democrats put in place, let them expire, and then we can go to work on Obamacare reform or repeal or replacement, whatever the term you want to use.
Yeah, it's so very important. Congressman, it's always an honor to have you on. You've served your country for so very long. And in this moment now, we need truth tellers in Congress. And I know you spend a lot of time telling the American people the truth, telling the great constituents of Texas the truth. That is so appreciated.